Welcome to another episode of Pod for Good, the podcast where we talk to the change agents and amazing people trying to make Tulsa, Oklahoma, and the world a more vibrant and inclusive place. I'm your chief philanthropod, Jesse Ulrich.
And I'm your vice admiral philanthropod, Chris Miller.
And today, our special guest is everyone's best friend, Steve Cluck, with a bonus appearance by Lawn Man.
We talked to Steve about the birth of 918 Day, why we should believe women in the Tulsa art scene, and how karaoke is better when it's bad.
We hope you all enjoy this special outdoor episode. You're going to hear a lot of background noise, but we left it in so you can also experience like you were there with us. So, enjoy. All right, we are very excited to bring you this special pandemic outside episode of Pod for Good, and we are very excited to have the man about town, Steve Cluck, on the podcast. Hi, Steve.
Hey, I'm so excited to be here. Thanks for having me.
So, our normal first question to our guests during this pandemic is, how are you doing? But in this particular case, that question to you, I feel, is actually the entire episode, which is, how has it been being the man about town when there's been no about town?
It's definitely been an interesting journey. It's been good. I spend most of my social time at the gathering place and the river trails, running and walking in the mornings. And that's just a good way to get out and get healthy during this time. So I'm trying to turn it into a positive. And there has been, slowly, we're starting to have some of the art galleries reopen. So I've been going to Living Arts and AHA and 108 Contemporary.
So I do have to bring out, I have a special prop for this particular episode. Cabin Boys has brewed a special beer, and I can only assume they did it specifically for the three of us. This beer is called the Extroverts Apocalypse.
Ah, nice.
Jesse and I are going to sample a little bit of this special beer in honor of this special podcast, and we're going to let Steve talk about the artwork on the can.
Let me take a picture of that.
Okay.
There we go.
Let me pour out some beer here. Let's get some special sound effects.
I know, like, the world doesn't really want to feel bad for extroverts at this particular time, but it's been really rough. Like, I don't like sitting alone with my thoughts this much. Yeah, every once in a while it's fine.
Yes, I think Steve is handling it way better than you or I are.
Yeah.
Okay. Here's the can.
Yeah, take a look at that.
So this is the true test of any beverage, is the quality of the can or bottle art.
Yes.
Yeah, this is fantastic. It's got a red head, which is always a plus, with, what is this, like lemon slices on her eyes? Is that what I'm seeing here?
Yeah, or lime slices.
Lime slices, yeah. And of course a mask, so she's masked up. That's always a good thing. Mm-hmm. So yeah, great color, great content. I'm going to give this can art 5 out of 5 stars.
Oh.
Let's make it 5 clucks.
Yeah,
5 out of 5 clucks.
There you go.
We'd like to thank our new sponsor of the podcast, Cabin Boys Brewery.
They just don't know it yet.
Yeah, they don't know it yet.
I'm pretty sure the leaves you're seeing in the hair is mint, because the beer has mint in it.
Ah, okay, and it probably must have the lime as well.
Mm. And I think there's some sort of berry. I don't know if you see any berries in the hair or not.
Yeah, there's some strawberries and raspberries.
There you go.
Yeah, this is fantastic. Very fall looking.
Mm-hmm. So yes, the Extrovert Apocalypse is, as Jesse said, people are probably not feeling bad for extroverts.
It's true. Also, again, I appreciate us describing what something looks like on a podcast, because as I've always said, podcasts are a visual medium.
That's right.
So beer's really good.
Yeah. So speaking of art, one of the specific things that's been interesting to see is the evolution of First Friday.
Yes.
So before we get into what it looks like now, I think very few people know about how First Friday actually was born versus what it is now or what it was a year ago. Can you talk about where it came from?
Yeah, First Friday has shockingly been around a very long time. I think like 13 or 14 years now. And it used to just be very sparsely attended. So First Friday Art Crawl back in the day would be, there was just a few galleries. There was TAC, there was the Mel Cornshucker's Pottery Place, and then up the street where Saturn Room is now was a bar.
Club 209.
Club 209, thank you. I was like, it was a number. And that was pretty much it in the original incarnation, but we'd go every month loyally, like all about it. But yeah, it was maybe 50 people total for the entire street. And then, of course, once it really exploded when Guthrie Green went in and Living Arts moved over there and 108 Contemporary and AHA opened and Philbrook was there. And that's when it just exploded and got so popular and such a big thing. So yeah, it's just been really exciting to see. Like, I think the other thing that really changed was that people feel safe taking their families downtown, which is something that never would have happened before Guthrie Green was a thing. But you just see this vibrant energy on a first Friday until, of course, this year. So now, I went last Friday, and it was just 3 of the galleries are open, and great job on the social distancing, and they clean all the surfaces, and of course, art's always a large space where you're not supposed to touch anything anyway. So it feels comfortable, it feels safe. I think that they've all done a great job with it.
Yeah, I know Living Arts has done some where you can sign up for time slots to go and look. And,
yes.
We went last month we went and enjoyed Living Arts, and AHA is always great to see. They always have some very interesting art pieces there, for sure.
Yeah, the new experience is up. I have not seen it yet. I've built it up in my head so much. Like, I went to the original experience just all the time. I always brought people from out of town there. It's like the one thing you want to show off. I feel like whenever you have an out-of-towner, take them to the experience, take them to the gathering place, probably Cherry Street or Brookside downtown, just to show off the best of Tulsa. But I haven't seen the new experience yet because I'm like saving it up. Mm-hmm. It has to be like such a big unveiling for me. So
I wonder how many eyeballs are staring at you in Experience version 2.
Yeah.
I just remember having to have a meeting on that floor with the entrance of the experience and just hearing a lot of weird noises during said meeting. So I'm very curious about what the Experience 2 is like. Everyone should go.
They recorded some videos for this one, right?
Yeah, there's some, I haven't seen it yet, but Emily Simmons is one of the artists who did a piece that's a space opera, is what I'm
listening.
Thinking anyway. And I play a small role. Like, my typical is to play like a 15-second cameo in various movies and TV and whatever. Yeah, anyways, it looks like a lot of fun. She's kind of got like aliens and like this whole drama that kind of continues as you continue to watch the videos. The story progresses. So it looks like it's going to be really cool. And yeah, I'm really excited to see what's going on with the new experience when I finally crack that one open.
Yeah, that'll be cool.
Are you saving that for like when there's a vaccine, or are you just like waiting until it feels right?
Waiting until it's like an exciting, okay, we've got some friends, we can take photos. I don't want to just go by myself and be like, oh,
yeah,
it has to be like a big excursion at this point.
Yeah. Sorry. Somebody's deciding that now's a good time to do some yard work.
Yeah, this is why outside podcasts are always a terrible idea. But
it's fun though.
Blah,
right?
blah, blah. Well, yeah, we'll talk through this part.
Yeah.
Until they move directly away from your lawn.
Yeah. I honestly don't even know where it's coming from at this point. That way?
Are you sure this isn't the Texas Chainsaw Massacre?
I know.
That way.
If we start hearing some screams, we'll know.
No, yeah. We'll have... Wow. It was the loudest phone drop ever.
Boom. Yeah, that's quieter than the phone drop.
Yeah. So in addition to art, another of the big things that you've been focused on for about the same amount of time as First Friday is and I don't know, did it start with Don't Hate the 918, I Heart Tulsa, your t-shirts, and not just the t-shirts, but the whole concept of this idea of Tulsa Pride. Where did that come from for you, and how did you build that up?
That was born out of my college experience at TU. I graduated in 2005, and one of my good friends was moving to India. And so all of our friends got together and we're like, hey, let's get her some memento, some souvenir from Tulsa. And we were like, okay, it can't just be a generic TU shirt because, that's just the go-to. Yeah. So we were like, let's go find something cool from Tulsa that we can give her. And there weren't anything. Like, this was a different time when there was no Tulsa flag. There was no Ida Red. There was no there weren't any Tulsa gifts. Mm-hmm. So I just said, I'll just make an I Love Tulsa shirt because we all love that movie, I Heart Huckabee.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That was the actual inspiration. Like that, and obviously I Love New York. Mm-hmm. But we were like, hey, since we're such fans of that movie, we'll make I Heart Tulsa and just give it to her as a gag gift. So at the going away party, I gave her the first shirt, and everyone else at the party's like, that's really cool. Will you make me one too? So I just started making them for friends, and then their friends, and then their friends, and then stores started calling and saying, hey, that's really cool. I want to sell that. There was a record store called Under the Mooch. It was
That's a great name.
Yeah, it was a really cool record store back in the day near TU, and they were the first ones to actually stock the shirts and sell them. So at that point, it became like this instant success. People really embraced it. I think it was the right message at the right time. Like, people wanted to say something positive about Tulsa, and there wasn't an outlet in which to do that. So the shirts were the voice to the pride that we do have for this town. Don't Hate the 918 shirts, the idea behind that was I was wearing my I Love Tulsa shirt at Gypsy Coffee House. And this young, surly teenager came up and he's like, Tulsa, that's terrible. Like, why would you wear that shirt? This place is awful. And I was like, hey, don't hate the 918. And just rolled it off. And then I thought, oh, that's a good t-shirt logo too. And this was at the time too when like area codes were like the Ludacris song. Ruben Studdard was on American Idol wearing his area code. The wrestler Rey Mysterio was rocking 619. So I was like, we need a 918 brand. Like, that needs to be a thing. And I remember when I first brought it into one of the stores, I was like, hey, I've got this great new shirt. This is going to be really popular. And the store owner was like, I don't get it. Well, what's the 918? What is this? And I was like, it's the area code. But like back then, no one called Tulsa the 918. This was again before any of we have all these businesses with 918 in their names now, but it was a new twist to throw on it at the time.
That was I think still when you didn't have to dial 918.
I was going to say
that was still when you only had to dial the 8 digits.
When was the second area code introduced?
That was actually a long time ago.
Okay.
That may have been about 10 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah, so
I still can't remember what it is though, that number.
But it may have been that it was fairly recent that you actually had to dial out the full 918 when you dialed a phone number.
Yeah, and it just really caught on. So that's the origins of the two original Lewis and Clark t-shirts. And then there's been more, of course, over the years. I Speak Okie and Mimosa Mafia. So always making new shirts. Coming up, we've got...
I was going to say, it seems like now that it has been embraced by the actual city, it's now an official holiday, but you had been unofficially celebrating it for years before that as well.
Yeah, there's actually a fun backstory on that. Little slice of Tulsa history is that on September 1st of 2008, the owners of the bar Cellar Dweller at the time, like I remember he came to me and he said, hey, do you realize what's coming up? And he wrote it out for me. He's, look, it's going to be 9/1/8, September 1st, 2008. And he's like, let's have a big party here with your shirts. And I was like, yeah, that's like really special. This is a once in a lifetime. This is the only time we'll ever have the calendar hit our area code 918. And it was a great time. We had a great party. And then the next year I was like, gosh, it's too bad I can't do that again because that was really cool. But now it's September 1st, 2009, and it kind of messes it up. And then I was like, you dummy, like, there's still September 18th. I can do a thing on that day.
Right.
So then it became an annual tradition every September 18th to have some sort of small, usually like a little party. We had a lot of them at Ida Red. I had a photo shoot at Fairfellow Coffee one year. It just moves around, and we try to celebrate the 918 in some spectacular fashion, whatever that may be. But yeah, then a couple of years ago, I guess the mayor officially proclaimed it to be an actual holiday. So that's really cool to see that's developed to where it's becoming more of an official thing.
Yeah, we did the scavenger hunt.
We did
last year for 918.
yeah.
I'm pretty sure we came in second place. we were behind the team that won the entire time.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Andy.
Daniel,
Anyway,
Andy.
yeah. So I'd be remiss if I didn't ask this question, which is, as our listeners will know, that the last, I would say, maybe 10 episodes of Pod for Good have been what we deem Pod for Sads, where we've been talking about the problems Tulsa is dealing with. So when we're talking about having Tulsa pride, how do you balance like having pride in a place, but also being like, it could be better?
Right. I've been thinking a lot about this because Tulsa has had a lot of unfortunate PR issues with I thought painting the Elon Musk face on the driller was a giant mistake, creepy. And then, of course, there's just been a lot. That's when I think ultimately it's things that needed to be talked about. And hopefully it all elicits positive change. So those difficult conversations that we as a city have to have.
Is that why you did the no hate in the 918 shirts?
Yeah, that was definitely a response to that idea because my entire life philosophy has always been like love. And I'm ultimately a hippie. So like my parents are very, like my dad's a musician, my mom's a painter. I grew up in an artistic family, very hippie kind of philosophy of, peace and love and yoga and vegetarianism. And so that's kind of my life. And I'm all about just spreading love and positivity. And so that's what is really rooted in the I Heart Tulsa and the Don't Hate the 918, and just changing the verbiage around to saying literally no hate in the 918. So just a way to say, let's show love for everyone here and really embrace a positive message about everything that's going on.
And you came out with that, if I remember right, it was right around a little bit before Juneteenth, and when there were a lot of protests going on in Tulsa. Yeah. It had just been, I think, announced that Trump was going to have his rally here, and so it almost felt like it was almost your form of protest, right? Your peaceful protest, right? To put that out there for the world.
Yeah, and I was ultimately so proud of Tulsa that day. The Trump rally made me so nervous, and I was just like, I can't be around this. I just felt nervous that there was such negative energy in the air in Tulsa that day. But I was so proud that it was ultimately peaceful, and people didn't show up. Yeah. And I was like, good.
It was a stressful week.
I think Tulsa really did us proud ultimately on how that turned out. So that was good to see.
Yeah, and even if there's no hate you can't say there's no hate in the 918. At least you can show that there's less hate than people thought there would
yes,
be.
That's right.
In the 918.
All the hates in that other Tulsa area code that I can't remember. I feel like it begins with a 5.
539.
Okay, yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. 539's the worst. I'm just kidding. So again, there's only so many 6-digit numbers you can have before you run out of numbers.
But so speaking of 918 Day,
yes,
this will go out about a week before our next 918 Day, and it's obviously going to be a little bit different than past years, but
we will have some fun things to do that day. So I encourage everyone to follow me on Instagram and Facebook to get updates about 918 Day coming up.
I'm trying to think of how many people in town are not Facebook friends with Steve. Steve has a lot of Facebook friends. But now I think about it, I don't know if I follow you on Instagram or not. I'll have to get on that. So we will put your Instagram handle in the show notes.
Yes.
So,
excellent.
Yeah.
We will not say it aloud so it's not read by some bot in Australia to our 2 Australian listeners. And then you get slammed with things. Anyway.
But yeah, 918 Day, it will be interesting to see because we know it has to be different, but it's still important to celebrate.
Yes. Yeah, and I think that's the best we can do is continue to promote positive things about our city despite some of the unfortunate occurrences that have gone on, painting the driller's face and all this crazy stuff. But yeah, and I just feel that was just like side rant, but this is our iconic symbol of Tulsa. We can't be painting some dude's face on it. That's disrespecting ourselves as a city. Mm-hmm. But that's why I'm like going hard on that.
It was creepy.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. That was like very horror film.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit about what this year's 918 Day is going to be like?
I'm not really sure. It's still in the formation process. I'm selling a new Celebrate the 918 t-shirt on my Etsy store. So I encourage everyone to wear their shirts that day, and then we'll have some fun gatherings and events with social distancing in mind and precautions in place. But yeah, we'll do something fun.
And if we're able to confirm anything by the time this goes out, we'll add it to the show notes.
Yes.
So we'll see. But as Steve said, follow him, and there'll be some exciting events. Something will happen that we can all enjoy.
Again,
I might just dress up like a chicken and stand on the corner on Brookside with a t-shirt on or something.
Something will happen.
Yeah. What's funny is the scavenger hunt could technically work again. We just can't. We just couldn't meet in a central location to start it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's an interesting time to celebrate Tulsa. I feel like Tulsa's been spending a lot of time internally working on itself and having fights that we should have had 50 to 100 years ago and having them now. And just because we're all stuck at home, we are forced to deal with these things.
To me, it's the same concept where there are people who say the whole, if you don't love this country, then get out. But, what to me, real patriotism is the ability to love something, but also understand its flaws, right? So this country, we can love it, but understand its flaws and want to work on it and make it better. It's the same way with Tulsa, right? We can be proud of Tulsa. We can love Tulsa, but still see racial inequalities that need to be fixed, historical issues, present issues, all kinds of things. We can see that they need to be fixed, but you can still be proud of the city and the people. Even when many horrible things are happening, there's still lots of positive, amazing things going on in the city and in the people.
Welcome to my life, Chris, of trying to explain to people that you can want to fix something and still love it at the same time.
Yeah.
So, for our listeners, you're probably going to be hearing more lawn care sounds. In that case, I apologize. So, every one of the neighbors of the secret location in which we are recording is doing lawn work right now.
Yes, welcome to Lawn for Good.
Yeah. I wish I had a lawn mowing drop, but we don't need it for this one.
Just record a snippet from
That's right.
this podcast and you can use it in the future.
That's right.
We don't have to get into this if you don't want to, but speaking of the art world in Tulsa, there has been kind of a scandal that has been a little bit underground for a while that finally bubbled up. I guess it was about 2 months ago.
Yeah.
And we don't have to get into specifics, but it did bring up, I think, an important thing to show that even art, which is something that is generally seen as maybe a little bit more open and progressive, has some of the same issues when it comes to things like sexual harassment, sexual assault, and things like that. So, as somebody who is deeply ingrained in the art scene in Tulsa, how did that make you feel learning about that and seeing some of that? And then how do you work in Tulsa to try to make the art world a safe space for everyone?
Yeah, I'm glad we get a platform to talk about this. That's been something that I'm very passionate about, is the Believe Women. And I'm actually doing a photo shoot at AHA with my friend Aaron Martin has put together a group, and where they're all going to wear Believe Women masks and Believe Women t-shirts.
Awesome.
And we're going to promote that message really strongly because it's something that's so important. And it's important that I want to use my platform to help and to lend my support to these brave women who are courageously and admirably coming forward to help put a stop to this. They don't get anything from it. This is not easy, and I know how hard it is, and how much judgment and how much unfair criticism is lobbied towards women coming forward. And that's something I think we need to really address too. Is just we have to believe women, we have to support women, and we have to really hear them and really champion them for their courage.
Back to Art Crawl a little bit. We just had September's Art Crawl.
Mm-hmm.
So we've got 3 more left for the rest of this year. So do you have any insight? Do you see anything changing over the next 3 months? Or
I think it's going to be pretty much the way it has been the last couple of months, where it's just the larger galleries that are able to distance effectively. And then, hopefully once we get into the vaccine and get this kind of cleared up a lot better.
Yeah.
Hopefully, like the smaller galleries like TAC will be able to reopen.
Mm-hmm. One of the big draws, as you referred to over the last couple of years, has been big events, large-scale events at Guthrie Green.
Yeah.
Right? The ballet has come out and done performances. There have been theater in the park, just various musical performances. All kinds of things have been out there. And Guthrie Green is doing no events for obvious reasons, but they're doing no events, not just for First Friday, but none. So I think that probably has limited the draw of people out there. When we went a month ago, there weren't a lot more than the 3 of us walking around.
It
right?
was like the old school original ones where there was 50 people total on the entire street.
Yeah. Now, if you want to have a chance to have a gallery mostly to yourself, then it's a good time to head out to First Friday.
Yeah, listen, I wish I could get into the wonderful wizarding world of Harry Potter right now in a low amount of people type of area. That'd be nice.
That's right. Another thing you mentioned was Gathering Place. So I'm curious about that because I haven't been back in a little bit. Whenever I do long runs or bike rides, I take the trail through and around it, but since Gathering Place is reopened, what does it look like? What's different about it?
That's been my salvation during the pandemic. Like originally during the stay-at-home order, I started walking for maybe 3 to 4 hours a day because it was just like I have nowhere else to be. It's nice out. We were fortunate to have great weather during that April. Yeah, I just got like really into going to the trail and just like spending the whole day just like walking and running. And we were so fortunate to have the Gathering Place.
Mm-hmm.
Like the Kaiser Foundation giving us this gift has just been phenomenal for the city. I just can't say enough good things about how exciting it is that we have this largest park in America, just beautifully done. So yeah, I can't say enough good things about the Kaiser Foundation for giving us the Gathering Place and how important it is. Like, it's fun to see. It's making kids get active. Like, you see kids at the skate park and they're getting off their phones and they're actually getting physical activity in. And I love the Midland Valley Trail personally, like the one with the trees on both sides, because I'm a pale redhead that burns instantly. So that shade is good for me for my walks. But yeah, it's just, that's been like the one thing you can feel okay doing, being outside like we are now.
Yeah.
Even with the lawn mowing and weed eating.
That's right. It is nice that it isn't 1,000 degrees outside. You work for Spexton.
Yes.
And so you do jewelry design for them, among other things. One thing I'm curious about is that you are in a retail setting and you have been pretty much back for a few months now. So what has it been like? I'm curious. What has it been like?
One of the things that I've always felt so comfortable about is if anyone's ever been to Spexton on Cherry Street, we are a small locally owned jewelry store that does custom jewelry and repair, design, wedding rings, engagement rings, diamonds. Our store is easily controllable as far as sanitization. So I'm up there with like my alcohol wipes and sanitizer, just anything anyone touches, we immediately sanitize. So we're able to control the store where masks are obviously required. We give away masks if someone doesn't have one. We just really have taken it so seriously and taken every precaution possible to make it a safe and sanitary place that people can feel comfortable in. And that's the reason I feel good about it, is that it's a small enough store that we can control pretty much every surface and make sure it's constantly sanitized. So yeah,
have you had any people come in refusing to wear masks and causing a big stink about it?
No, I see all those videos online. Our customer base is such, great people.
Yeah.
But yeah, so nothing like the fits from YouTube.
I had a feeling about that, but
I was going to say, you can really do some damage in that store if you really want to throw a fit.
We're excited that Cherry Street's completed too. The renovation of the street has just been beautiful. We've got lit crosswalks now.
I know. I'm so excited about that. I can walk across the street and not feel like I'm going to die every time I do.
Yeah, that's been major. Because, before crossing Cherry Street was just like a game of Frogger.
I don't know if it was actually her who did it, but I want to thank
KJ.
because that was one of the first requests I sent to her when she started.
I'm still in darkness, KJ. I'm still in darkness at night. Get on that. All right.
Listen, if nothing else, you satisfied 2 of your constituents on this podcast today.
And considering how few people voted, that's really all you need. So, which is another topic completely.
Yes.
You mentioned you come from a family of artists.
Yes.
You yourself are an artist. You enjoy First Friday, but you have a lot of artistic outlets.
Yeah.
Right? So you like to paint. But the one I think that maybe has been the hardest for you during this pandemic is that you also love karaoke.
I was hoping you would say karaoke, because that's where my heart hurts.
I know.
I'm not able to scratch the karaoke itch, and that's been tough, but I've been practicing in my car, doing a lot of karaoke. So I'll have a whole new set list for my next karaoke performances. I've gotten really into trying to do a male vocal of super poppy Paula Abdul, Kylie Minogue, like the just bubblegum pop.
Nice.
Try to sing that as a dude.
Okay.
And terrible results. This is awful, but that's what karaoke is.
Right.
Like, it's supposed to be super embarrassing. It's supposed to be awkward and maybe even difficult to listen to, difficult to watch. And that's the beauty of karaoke, is just embracing this flawed art form, if you want to call it an art form. Because no one likes good karaoke.
Right.
If you're a good singer, then everyone else that's on the list that's coming up after you is like, great, now I've got to follow this. But we love a bad singer. We love someone who's up there just way out of their element. It's like my love of like camp. I don't know. It's a passion. It's exciting.
Yeah. There's something beautiful about someone who is terrible at singing, just really giving it their all in a karaoke.
Yes.
And again, maybe I'm 100% sure this is an extrovert thing, but there is something beautiful about an entire art form built around embarrassing yourself
Yeah.
and not caring.
And for me, there is a therapeutic side of it. Like, I was shy as a kid, still can be often, and that was my way of getting over that. Was like, hey, if I can go in front of a group of strangers, sing a song that I have no business singing, then I can do anything. So that was like the if you have a fear of heights, go to the Grand Canyon and look down. Like, karaoke got me out of that. It's been like a great outlet for battling the shyness that I grew up having, and so it's important in that way. And plus, yeah, it's just fun to just do something that you're really not good at, but just you love it. It's just It doesn't matter if we're good. In fact, it's good if we're bad.
What I like to say is, what I lack in talent, I make up for in enthusiasm.
Yeah.
Yes.
Maybe with that most recent Zoom update where they improved on audio quality, people can actually try to do some Zoom karaoke. But
Yeah.
so
That would be fun.
yeah, and I bet there's a way of doing an outdoor karaoke where everyone's just far apart and can make it work. I've been singing a lot to myself. So
we should talk to the Main Street whatever group that's doing now the outdoor dining.
Yeah, that was going on last Friday when I was at Living Arts, and that was really cool.
Yeah. So maybe they can do outdoor karaoke as part of it. Maybe Art Club would do it or something.
Yeah, because there's definitely no sound problems when you do things outdoors. As we've
Listen,
learned.
as we discussed,
Yes,
it's
feels
not
right.
about the quality.
That's true. That's
right?
certainly true.
There's something magical about singing, say, like a Bon Jovi song badly and having the whole room join in with you.
Listen, I once, for a guy's birthday party, we were all Star Trek fans, sing the Enterprise theme song as karaoke, and no one in the bar knew what was happening, but we enjoyed ourselves immensely because that song is terrible and it's fun to sing really loudly. So
Actually don't know which is better, when you sing something that no one knows or you sing something everyone knows.
I feel like both are great, because if everyone knows the song, then they can all sing along badly. But if they don't know the song, there's like, why are these people choosing the song? And then you can have a conversation with them and make new friends. So
I'm a big fan of butchering the classics.
Oh, yeah.
Like, Love Shack is my ultimate go-to, and it's the most stereotypical karaoke song of all time. That and Baby Got Back are like the two, just what's gonna happen. Shoop would be another by Salt and Peppa. But I'm like, embrace those. Like, of course we should do those multiple times per night. Like, those are the greatest karaoke songs ever made.
One day, Steve, you will see it doesn't really matter which song, but like my Meatloaf karaoke stuff, because that you can really just scream the entire time and it's great. And those songs are not short. So you're up there for a while, which is more attention from me.
I will say that's the only thing for me with karaoke. I do prefer the shorter songs. To me, it needs to be like 4 minutes or less. Once it starts to get to the longer songs,
there's always those ones that like you don't realize how long the instrumental break is until you're up there.
Yeah, it's so long.
2-minute instrumental break, and you're like, what do I do? Improvise, dance, come up with something to do real quick. Yeah, so that's always the awkward thing. Like Purple Rain by Prince is one that you've got to just start just chatting with the audience during this 3-minute guitar solo.
I feel like they could shorten that part. They could like fade out and fade back in right before. Like we don't we're not doing karaoke to hear the instrumental breaks. So get on that karaoke, people.
So one of the things we always finish up with is, and we've already talked about a lot of this stuff, but we can recap if we want. But we always want to give our guests a chance to plug anything. I feel like we've done a lot of plugs, but let's kind of put a bow on some of the upcoming stuff that you want to get out there.
Yeah, so we've got Celebrate the 918 coming up on September 18th. Follow me on Instagram and Facebook to get updates on that. I've got a special Celebrate the 918 t-shirt that's brand new. It's on my Etsy shop. And, of course, the shirts are always for sale at Ida Red. You can get the I Heart Tulsa shirt, and the new Tulsa Friends-inspired logo is available at Ida Red. And, of course, you can always get my shirts on Etsy, and I do a lot of photo shoots. That's one of the fun projects that I've been doing for years now is people can model the shirts. And like I did one yesterday that was a lot of fun at my house. So people can just message me on Instagram and Facebook to set that up. If they want to show some Tulsa pride and get a good photo of themselves and their families rocking some Tulsa Pride shirts. And then, Spexton on Cherry Street. I encourage everyone to drop by and check us out for all of your jewelry and diamonds and engagement rings and repair. And let's see what else. And hopefully karaoke soon. And I encourage everyone to check out First Friday like we talked about. And check out Pod for Good. I noticed you guys have had a lot of great episodes in your archives.
Thank you.
Do you have a favorite that I like? If you could be like, oh, you got to make sure you listen to this one.
Oh man.
Are they all like it's choosing a favorite child?
It's hard because some of our most recent and best ones were remote, and those don't feel as good, even though they are fascinating conversations as the ones we've done in person.
Yeah.
So I mean,
Yeah.
definitely Q was a great in-person episode we had, because that one went all over the place.
Oh yes.
Interviewing Nika and Kojo together was fun,
Yeah.
and of course having our city councilor on twice.
Yeah.
I'm still in darkness.
Yeah, I know. I can't believe we were talking about all the different stuff. I didn't even bring up the fact that you're a prolific photographer. Your photo shoots are always a lot of fun. And
So you've told us about how during this pandemic you've gone for lots of walks and tried to be outside.
Yeah.
What have you spent your extra time when you're not working, when you're not walking outside, you're not doing photo shoots, you're not making t-shirts? Like, what is your sort of pop culture comfort food?
As Oklahomans, we all enjoyed Tiger King. Oh, God. I think that was like the right thing at the right time.
doesn't that feel like a year ago?
It really does. It was, what, March?
Excited
April?
about Carol Baskin appearing on Dancing with the Stars,
Yeah,
it's gonna
along
be
with
something.
Nelly and Chriselle from Selling Sunset. That was another one I really got into. I watched that entire season of Selling Sunset in one sitting.
Wow.
That was some good stuff. So yeah, those have been the best go-tos so far. Watching a lot of old movies, I actually have never really been much of a movie person. Like, there's I've never seen Titanic.
Neither has he.
Good. So yeah, there's entire pop cultural chunks of knowledge that I have no idea. I don't know who the famous actors are. I'm just totally out of it on that. So I've had some time to catch up and get around to watching some. Like I just watched Romeo and Michelle's
High School Reunion, yeah.
which I'm like, how did I never see this before? This is amazing. So yeah, just catching up on some of the stuff that everyone's probably, oh, I've seen that a million times. How are you just now watching that? Yeah, that's been kind of the fun ones, is going through, watching some movies, some old school stuff that I'm finally getting around to watching 20 years later.
I'm still trying to make Chris watch Pearl Harbor, because it's a three terrible hours, but entertaining terrible hours. So Titanic, on the other hand, not 3 fun hours of terrible film. It's just long. Also, I feel like it's too much of a metaphor right now to watch a ship sinking.
Oh,
so
yeah.
we're being attacked by bugs at the moment. So I feel like that's a good time to stop. Steve, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
Always a good time hanging out with you guys.
Yeah,
it was
Thanks
good.
for having me on. I appreciate it.
No,
Absolutely.
listen, Chris and I, we're happy to be in proximity to other people.
Yeah.
All right, thank you so much. I hope you all enjoyed our episode with Steve today. Chris and I enjoyed it immensely, interviewing him in person at a distance during the day. It was really something. While I've always enjoyed doing podcast recording, I did not realize how much I missed talking to people in person. So please check out the show notes for all of Steve's amazing events and organizations he's involved with, and make sure to follow him on the Facebooks and the Grams and whatever other things the kids are doing these days.
And don't forget, be just like the artwork on the can for Extrovert Apocalypse, and wear a mask.
Again, Telsa, please, 1, first, subscribe to this podcast anywhere podcasts can be found. And 2, it's September now. We're still saying this, but get it done out there and wear a mask.